We go to two of them whom you have not heard yet at this edition. So let me start with Ewout, who is the Consul General of the Netherlands here in Bangalore. He's a very, very active proponent for sustainability and bringing sustainability solutions and connecting the Netherlands and India. And interestingly, I think NRW and Netherlands also have a very good, close relationship, and that's a wonderful corridor as well. So, Ewout, what I wanted to ask you is, in the Netherlands, you actually live sustainability every day, when we see the cycles, when we see the choice each citizen makes every day, it's truly inspiring. What can you share with us about the sustainability spirit in the Netherlands and a few stories of different industries and how they're disrupting and using and creating more with less? So over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jos. Thank you for inviting me to be part of another India Advantage Summit. Great to be here. And of course, indeed, great to be with so many people from North Rhine-Westphalia. You cannot see the Dutch economy apart from what is happening in North Rhine-Westphalia. It's for us our most important economic region outside of the country. So whatever you do with North Rhine-Westphalia also benefits the Netherlands. So in that sense, it's a good to be here. So looking at sustainability in the Netherlands. My government is committed to the Paris agreements, which means that there has to be a fundamental change in the way we run our economy. We are striving to become a carbon neutral economy, but not only that, also a circular economy. The presentation of Dassault mentioned it as well. That is a great challenge. Still, we think it can be done. We are a very innovative country. We always rank in the top of innovation. And we have a lot of smart people, smart companies that work on this. But we cannot do that alone, which is why we always work under this motto, the Netherlands solving global challenges together. We look for partners everywhere in the world to help us move to this new type of economy. What are some of the things we're working on also with India? We have determined that green hydrogen is essential for our energy transition. That also links to North Rhine-Westphalia. Our ports are important import points for what is happening in North Rhine-Westphalia. And we are looking at green hydrogen. We see the challenges, but we also still look at the opportunities. And India has really moved up in our perspective in that area. Originally, our focus was on some other regions in the world. I'm not saying we're not looking at other regions in the world, but India has gotten much more prominent. We had an innovation mission earlier this year, including to Bangalore, on green hydrogen. We are bringing Indian delegations continuously to the Green Hydrogen Summit in Rotterdam. And this is really something where we are looking at innovation. We need electrolyzers. We need collaboration to make it a sustainable alternative, because at the moment it is not yet. I mean, it's not financially attractive. We've seen some obstacles in some investments that are being withdrawn, but still we are looking at any opportunity, any companies, any technology, any research, and we think that Netherlands. Innovative ideas match well with the Indian ecosystem, with the talent that is available here, but also with the quick adoption rate sometimes of new technologies. So India is really, the scale at which you can implement things is really impressive. So that's one. The other one, already also mentioned in some presentations, has to do with electricity. The Netherlands is suffering from grid congestion due to a very fast uptake in electric vehicles, in solar panels, in wind, but our grid cannot expand at the same rate. So technologies that involve the distribution of power, charging, smart charging, storage in electric vehicles, of using them as batteries when they are not being used to get power surges. All of this is important for us. Because honestly, at the moment, 14,000 businesses, new businesses in the Netherlands, cannot be connected to the grid because there is no space on the grid, there is no electricity that can be distributed. So these are immediate problems that we are facing. A sector, I think, in which the Netherlands has a lead in the world has to do with agriculture and food. We are the second largest food exporter after the United States of America. We're a small nation, so that means we have a lot of good technology. And our aim also with India is to focus on production of nutritious, healthy, sustainably grown foods. And yes, we have a lot of high tech that might be too advanced for India at the moment, but we are looking to merge our solutions with the Indian way of doing farming, especially in horticulture, fruits, vegetables, even flowers, but also now we are looking at dairy to see how we can, India is the largest dairy producer in the world, how can our technologies help to make that sector also more sustainable?
Excellent.
That's a little bit of a, I can talk about many more areas, but I don't want to dominate the conversation.
Yeah, no, it's like we were going through an encyclopedia, you know, you had all of this so neatly packed, you know, and when we listen to it, it's clear there is the India advantage and that's become important, but also, you know, the fact that you mentioned the energy challenge, and, you know, we saw the blackouts in the grids in Spain. Some would say it's the data centers, the AI, and suddenly on the weekend people searching for who will win the football match, and that, you know, if millions of people search at the same time using an AI engine, suddenly the grid can collapse. You know, nobody would have imagined something like that. And so there are these wonderful challenges. Thank you for placing that also in front of the audience here. I'm sure that some startups can also connect dots and find opportunities to see what could be done as grid matures and there is no more place. I think we will also face this situation while we trust Gaurav Gupta sir and his energy department to manage. It's always good for startup to see what problem could arrive in 5 years and start working on solutions as well. So very, very interesting and insightful. Thank you so much. I come back again on the second round. And now I want to go to Pierre because Pierre is from the French Consul General's office in Bangalore, handling economic affairs and so on. There's a lot of interesting stuff, Pierre, happening between India and France in multiple areas, especially AI and so on. Could you help our audience understand what's happening and what future opportunities are there so people can benefit in the coming months by connecting and plugging into some of those opportunities? Over to you, Pierre.
Of course. First, thank you, Jose, for the invite. It's always a pleasure to meet you, and congrats for these beautiful events. So I will talk about the Indo-French corridor here in South India, and I would say that it's one of the most dynamic bilateral innovation space in the world, especially here in South India. In Bangalore, Karnataka, France is deeply aligned with India on very strategic topics such as AI, education, sustainability. We work very closely on all of these topics. So I will take a few examples of cooperation, very concrete example. On the tech side first, we were very happy to have India on board of the AI summit which took place in Paris this year, and we are very happy also to work with India for the next AI summit in Delhi. We will work on the chakra together. Then, very concretely, in Karnataka, we had a LOI, letter of intent, between Paris Santé Campus and C-Camp in Bangalore, which will more connect our healthcare ecosystem. Then we had a MOU signed between Avon City, which is one of the best schools in AI in France, and with IIIT Bangalore. And we have a lot of growing number of cooperation going on. We are trying, for example, in Telangana to connect Station F, which is the best incubator in the world, with T-Hub. And we do also have here in Karnataka a very strong ecosystem of French startup, which is called the French Tech India. They are very active and they do organize a lot of networking events. So I think it will be good for you to connect with them. On the academic side, also France is here. We do have a lot of programs here. We currently have over 30 active MOUs in Karnataka only between the best school in France and the best school here in Karnataka. And we do have some programs like Choose France and France Alumni India, which help more than 8,000 Indian students to study and research in France today. So we need more Indian students. If you want to go to France to study, to go in the best schools, business school in the world, to go in the best AI schools, you should go to France. And finally, I would say that large groups are playing their part into training all of these talents. I'm very happy to have here Dassault Systèmes on board. And Deepak, I think he left. But as we keep repeating in every event, we see a real shift. Indian talent is no longer seen as an outsourced capacity, but as an equal in terms of innovation. And we see this basically on a monthly basis. We see new GCCs opening every month, French GCCs, and creating very high-value products. So the Indo-French corridor is strong and developing at a very fast pace, at a pace, I would say, of a Bangalore startup. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very interesting. You packed so many numbers and insight and schemes and subtopics. Excellent, it's good for some of you to take notes. I want to point out one thing. You see next to Dassault Systèmes, there is the logo of the India AI Summit. This is a very interesting summit that happened first in France and next one is happening in India. I think what we are trying to do is create the global framework for AI and ethical AI, and all the different leaders, because sometimes technology is going too fast and the regulation has to catch up. But if the regulation does not catch up, we might create a monster, and it could be a challenge. So I think there is this joint initiative between the two prime ministers and all the other CEOs joining. So it's a good thing to keep a watch for, and we will also be doing some roundtables on AI later before the big summit, which will happen later in Delhi. Nonetheless, thank you for pointing out those wonderful schemes. And now I think all of you have heard from all of them in one form or the other. Now we have the one interesting round of question, which is linked to our topic, global collaborations for sustainability and also for a future that is win-win for everyone. So let me start first with Jerry on the other side. Jerry, you represent the Indo-American Chamber. Of course, today everybody is a bit scared, what we will see tomorrow morning on Twitter, in a few handles. Having said that, I also know that a lot of things are happening nonetheless. A lot of GCCs are getting established from the US. Innovation is getting driven through India, not just in the past, but even now. I saw yesterday there was somebody setting up in Mangalore a GCC. So this continues to happen. Where do you see in the next 5 to 10 years the collaboration between India and the US going? What is your optimistic or pessimistic estimate about it? Just a few lines, and then we will go in that direction and asking each of you to give us your view of the future, because I think the ones who invest in the future, think about the future, always have a better chance when the future arrives. I was yesterday at the Global Clean Mobility Summit. Jan was a keynote speaker. One of the senior gentlemen was saying, 30 years ago, we bought the shares of Dash company. I think all of you know that company from Bangalore. And then it made a big difference to them and, what happened. So sometimes it's good to take a bet on the future, I think all of us in Bangalore know Infosys used to be 10 rupees a share a long, long time ago. And some people managed to buy it at the right time, at the right price. So also who are here, you may not have a startup, but you could invest in a startup. You could invest in the IPO of a startup that is scaling. We saw Zomato getting listed. We saw Swiggy, some of these getting listed, Urban Vault company getting listed, and so on. So it's really interesting to hear these insights, take your mental notes, and then of course give feedback on the voice note. I'd ask Vijay to check if the voice note analysis of the first session is ready. At the end of this panel, we will show that before lunch as well. So over to you, Jerry. I was giving you some time to collect your thoughts. Huh? All right, over to you, Jerry.
Thank you. So Jose, I am going to answer your question. I wear two hats, right? One is I'm the chairman of the Karnataka branch of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. I am also a partner of a largest Indian law firm called J. Sagar Associates, JSA. I don't think the investment, collaboration, growth story between India and the US is ever going to slow down. May not be for the next 5 years, next 15 years, unless there is going to be a huge, socio-political impediment, which is likely to happen. What we are seeing in terms of the collaborative engagements is that the scale of collaboration is now getting better. Earlier, India was used as a back office operation for several companies. Today, we are being integrated into mainstream technology, innovation, product development. And that makes a big difference. While we know that the federal government has been making noises about a few aspects, which again have their roots embedded in other issues, several states of the US departments keep coming to India to try and foster better relationships. So that way I am very optimistic. And I also hope that the current geopolitical situation globally, Europe, Asia, China, US, continue to have some level of stability to keep the story going. And that's the only hope that I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Very interesting. Now, what Jerry says is true. I think just 3-4 weeks back, we had the governor of New Jersey, we had a delegation from Fairfax County, we had the governor coming and saying in public that, he loves India and, all his companies love India and they love India and so on. There was too much love in the room. Nonetheless, hope that some of that love will translate to dollars of investment and capability enhancement as well. Ewout, your thoughts on how the Dutch-India corridor will evolve in the next 5-10 years? What do you see happening? Any insights so we can benefit from your thoughts?
Yeah, so we live in a fast-changing world, and geopolitical challenges are there, but that also offers opportunities. So a few of the things that we are excited about, first of all, the EU-India free trade agreement negotiations. Okay, trade negotiations are difficult, but both parties are still committed to reaching a deal, and that could be huge for future opportunities. And then from the Netherlands, we are working towards a strategic partnership between the Netherlands and India. It is ready to be signed, but some political obstacles, mostly on our side, have prevented that from being signed. But all the work is done, and we are really working to expand the existing relationship in trade and investment, in innovation, in water, agriculture, health, into new areas such as security and defense, including cybersecurity. That's something that we are very active on here in Bangalore as well, bringing Indian cybersecurity companies to the Netherlands, but also looking at a cybersecurity online school that we have every year, developing talent and looking for opportunities. Another area that we are looking at is semiconductors. The Netherlands has a unique semiconductor ecosystem in its borders. We're one of the few, or maybe the only country that can deliver everything. And there is a growing interest in India. We saw the top management of ASML go to Semicon India for the first time this year, and that has created a lot of buzz on both sides. So we are looking also for business opportunities in that sphere, but also research and development, and especially important also talent development. ASML already employs 1,700 Indian nationals in the Netherlands, so we rely on Indian talent in that sphere. And the government is majorly investing billions in keeping our semiconductor ecosystem at the forefront of international operations. Other areas that we are looking at, life sciences and health, including medtech, including pharmaceuticals, space, AI was mentioned. Yes, we are also looking at having a high-level delegation in Delhi in February for the AI summit, and we are trying to organize a roundtable, maybe around the Bangalore Tech Summit, on Indo-Dutch opportunities in AI when we have a high-level visit from the Netherlands. So these are some of the, maybe not sustainability, but they also contribute to sustainability. These are technologies that are required for our global future development that we are working on at the moment. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. One round of applause, because he gave specifics there. So, when you meet him during lunch, you could ask and connect in that area which is of interest. Really, really good to see. And, that surely shows there is an optimism in the air. Of course, political hurdles have to be crossed so collaboration can speed up. Not everyone is running at the same speed. The startups and the tech guys are much faster and others are catching up. But it's interesting to see so many kind of government officials, stakeholders on stage, also committing and looking to enable growth and a sustainable future. Thank you so much, Ewout, for that. And I have to also thank you for being our advisory board member. Whenever we have the chance, we meet and you share ideas and we try to bring some of those startups from the Netherlands to our summit as well. Thank you so much. We have, of course, Philips here and Arcadis here. So, they were speaking tomorrow nonetheless, but they are here. Arcadis you'll hear in the afternoon. You've seen all those traffic lights with VAC. That's AI-enabled traffic lights. So you will hear about how it works and what's going to happen next. The digital twin for mobility, all of that will be shared by Venkat later in the afternoon. And all these connections are enabled by our Consul General and our advisory board members, so thank you so much for that. Madhu, now back to you. Where do you see the Indo-German corridor moving and what's your feeling? What next in that area? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jose. So I think maybe I just wanted to, the point which I wanted to make in the opening statement is the kind of funds which is needed to make something, to move country like India, right? I also got a lot of thinking when the Consul General was mentioning that the Netherlands grid got choked because of the uptick in EV. You just imagine the condition of India, right? With the kind of population and the scale what we have. So the point here is that our energy is going to be at a peak, let's say from 2030 to 2035. That's going to be this time which is going to be the maximum, which is needed of the grid. So just to touch a very, very high level, right? Like, India also has committed to this Paris Agreement by the national determined contributions. When you calculate it, India needs $2.5 trillion to move from where we are to, in 2030. So that's a huge figure. And if I have to distill it further, let's say close to about 500 billion is needed in the top 4 segments, like let's say steel, you take the manufacturing, it's the process industries, heavy industries. This is going to take about 500 billion is needed to move them from where they are to be at least, the carbon, emissions norms, whatever we have signed up for. Okay, so let's take the journey a little more forward. 2070 by net zero, that's a huge commitment which as a country which we are taking. The need is $10 trillion and which is really substantial in that way. And if we further distill it further and see that, we need close to about $200 billion every year by 2030 to achieve whatever, which we have signed up for. And India is tracking the green funds, which is available to us is somewhere, let's say around $50 to $60 billion is what we are having, to spend on these kind of things. So the gap is really huge. And to answer it very, very simple, Jose, Germany is one of the largest, funding partner in this whole transition. Amongst all of us sitting here as well, I can proudly say about Germany that way. $10 billion is committed towards this whole, journey to convert us from where we are to the carbon emission norms what we have signed up for by 2030. So that's a huge step. As I really mentioned to you, the kind of work which we do at a very, very high level, our collaborations for the green hydrogen transitions, as well as to the lowest level what you see it, we work with the corporations also to put in our funds, deploy our funds to see that how we can reduce our the carbon footprint. So the huge work is happening, and I only see that with the new government coming in and the renewed push which we have, is going to be a large handshake of exchanges, both technologically and well as the financial as well. So
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Laying out those numbers, and I think Germany will be a very strong partner in achieving a large portion of that target and that gap. So really good. Pierre, a few thoughts as we about to close before lunch. Yes.
Okay, really quickly before lunch. So I would see the future of Indo-French cooperation evolving in three main directions. I would say deeper, greener, and more human. So deeper in the sense that you will have more state-to-state initiative to empower our strategic partnership. 2026 will be the Indo-French year of innovation between France and India, and it will be around very strategic topics such as AI, mobility, climate, agriculture, and we'll organize a lot of events in the frame of this year, and some side events will be based here in Bangalore. More green, I would say greener, because sustainability is at the core of our partnership between France and India. We do have a lot of initiative in this field, and we do have a lot of innovation, bottom-up innovation, in fact, between incubator like NSR Cell and big French companies such as Pernod Ricard, which are working with local startups on this strategic topic of sustainability. And third, I would say more circular and more human, because at the French embassy we have a big work on skills and talents, because we see that you have a lot of stakeholders in this field. You have companies such as Capgemini, which are training a lot of talents locally. You have also exchange of talents between academic and university, but you may also have private initiatives such as startups like Le Wagon, which is a French boot camp. We just set up his office here in Bangalore, which is training a lot of people in AI. So the next step would be to scale up this kind of mobility to connect more the different stakeholders. But to conclude, I would say that France and India are in the middle of a big momentum, and we should all benefit from this momentum. Thank you.
Excellent. Great momentum journey together. Thank you, Pierre, for that positive and optimistic outlook. Steffi, we heard already what you are doing. You're here on the ground, serious, with a lot of team members already in India doing a lot of projects. What is your rough view of the future? How do you see the next 5-10 years between India and NRW and Germany at large?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jos. First of all, I'd like to thank Consul General from the Netherlands for your kind words in the very beginning. In fact, the Netherlands are our main trade partner, and whenever you do activities in North Rhine-Westphalia or in the Netherlands, you will always profit from our close relationship. And of course, we also have close relationship with France. We border also on France. And I think a vision that unites us all is that we're hoping for the free trade agreement between European Union and India to come in the hopefully next years. And I believe it will definitely accelerate everything that we already do between European countries or our state of North Rhine-Westphalia and India. To give you some few examples, what we have done in this year, we receive a lot of delegations from India. We invite delegations. We have the Future Tech Fest, for example, takes place in Düsseldorf. It's a large startup and tech exhibition, the largest in Germany, and we received a delegation from India startups, some I believe 30 startups that we host, and we set up a program for them to connect them with the important stakeholders so they can enter the market successfully, and hopefully, of course, with our wish that they set up business in North Rhine-Westphalia. And again, in November, we have the largest medical fair that takes place in our state, Medica, where we will all so see a lot of Indian delegates coming in. Especially we're happy to host a delegation from NASSCOM that will be led by the president of NASSCOM, Rajesh Nambiar. So there are a lot of things going on. We will then a week later be back in Bangalore at Bangalore Tech Summit, also with startup delegation from North Rhine-Westphalia. So a lot of things are already happening, and we will continue and try to intensify with our growing team. So I see a lot of potential in the coming years.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that wonderful answer. You know, so there is something to look forward to, the Medica which is coming, and also the Future Tech Fest, FTF. I think it's a very interesting event to see what's happening in innovation space. Thank you so much, Steffi. Back to Bon, your last word from you. You are from the government side. You know, in the end, it's great to see a government official here in person pushing and giving support towards innovation, towards collaboration. Your final thoughts, what do you see will happen in the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, thank you, Jules, once again, and I would like to thank you, first of all, the great panelists on the stage, because you mentioned a very crucial, important thing, which I mentioned quite a little bit earlier during my intro, and this is what I call the Da Vinci effect. We are already working together, so especially thank you for the kind words. North Rhine-Westphalia is one of the biggest partners to the Netherlands, also to France, and then comes the point we are already establishing a, let's say, European open innovation ecosystem, and that's one of my statements and wrap up for today. We are all here establishing an open innovation ecosystem, and that's so important. This concept, to have this concept in mind, because in the entrepreneurial way or manner, we would say it's a kind of co-opetition. But it's co-opetition, this means we are still into competition regarding the countries, but we are already in cooperation. So it's co-opetition, and I see for the future that the European countries has or have diversified their own economies to, let's say, that the dependency from the US, from China, from the Asian countries has shrunk a little bit, and that we have established from the government side specific high-tech sections where we not only have the playground for the companies to work together, but where we have established, the Consul General has mentioned it, strategic partnership between the governments to set the level playing field, especially in the so-called high-tech. This means AI, defense, aerospace, and quantum computing. And last sentence, we are already working on it because we hope that we can announce during the upcoming Bangalore Tech Summit, announce with the government of Karnataka to have this kind of LOI. And we are already from a political side working to have a memorandum of understanding signed next year together with the government of Karnataka in these specific fields. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So time for action, time for cooperation and competition and strategic partner. Big round of applause for these wonderful speakers.